Order. I call this meeting to order. This is the Standing Committee on Human Resources. My name is Chris Palmer. I'm the MLA for Kings West and the chair of this committee. Today we are reviewing appointments to agencies, boards, and commissions. And at this point, I'd like to ask all in the room to please put your phones to silent. And a reminder to not touch your microphone. The staff will help you if anything needs adjusting. And I'd like to ask all committee members to now introduce themselves for the record, stating their name and their constituency, and we'll begin with MLA Burns.
MLA Rick Burns, Hammonds Plains, Lucasville.
Hi, I'm Damien Storylov, MLA Bedford South.
Tim Mouthett, MLA Bedford Basin.
Good afternoon, Emily Adegoke Fadari from Clary Park West.
Ian Rankin, Timberley Prospect.
I'm Paul Wozni, Sackville Cobequid, and I use he, him pronouns.
I'm Krista Gallagher, MLA for Halifax Chebucto, and I use she, her pronouns.
Thank you, everyone. And for the purposes of Hansard, I also recognize the presence of Legislative Counsel Genevieve Harvey to my left. Did I say that correctly? Okay. And Legislative Committee Clerk Robin Dan to my right. And now we will move on to our appointments to agencies, boards, and commissions, and I'll look for a motion to begin that process. MLA Sterliff.
Hi, everybody. The first motion is for the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage. The motion is for the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage. I move to recommend Bethany Moffett and Bessie Nicolau to be appointed as directors to the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia Board of Directors.
Thank you. Motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. MLA Burns.
The next motion is for the Nova Scotia Museum Board of Governors. For the Department of Communities, Culture, Tourism, and Heritage, I move to recommend Saeed Alabau, Giles Crouch, Dolores Atwood, Sarah Greenblatt, and Katrina Swift be appointed as members to the Nova Scotia Museum Board of Governors.
Motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. MLA Burns.
For the Department of Justice, I move to recommend Shauna Paris be appointed as Commissioner and Chair Designate to the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission.
Motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. MLA Burns.
Also for the Department of Justice, I move to recommend Dr. Mohammed Khan, Kiwei Ling, and Jennifer Sang be appointed Commissioners to the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission.
A motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. MLA Burns.
Technical Safety Advisory Board for the Department of Labor, Skills, and Immigration, I move to recommend Nathan Weber be appointed Member Trade Rep to the Technical Safety Advisory Board.
Motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. MLA Burns.
For the Department of Labor, Skills, and Immigration, I move to recommend Jane Arnold be appointed Member, Public at Large, and Chair to the Advisory Board of the Public Archives.
Excuse me one second. Could you repeat the motion, please, MLA Burns? We just want to make sure we're getting the right department name in the motion. So, is it Service Nova Scotia you're referring to?
Not.
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Let me correct my motion.
Thank you.
For the Department of Service Nova Scotia, I move to recommend Jane Arnold be appointed Member, Public at Large, and Chair to the Advisory Board of the Public Archives.
Thank you. The motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And MLA Burns.
May I have a moment?
You may have a moment.
Is this all?
Okay. MLA Burns.
For the Department of Service Nova Scotia, I move to recommend Ernest Dick be appointed Member, Public at Large to the Advisory Board of Public Archives.
Motion on the table. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you, members, for getting the appointments done for this month's meeting. I'll move on to committee business, and the first thing is the approval of the annual report that I have in my hand. Is there any discussion, or can we just go to the table for approval that we'll be able to table this in the House? Any discussion? Okay, all those, is it a vote? Or I guess just a general acceptance that the bill, accepted? The annual report is now accepted by our committee. So it'll be my signature on that when we're completed it, correct?
A member is to move that it be reported.
And I would like to ask a member to please move that this be moved to the House, tabled in the House. Emily Burns.
I move that we return the report to the House for tabling.
All those in favor of the motion say aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. And just one other piece of committee business in our list here is that just a note that our meeting on November the 4th, that will be capital plan updates on school development and maintenance initiatives, will be held in the chamber in the legislature. Due to the number of guests, it was decided that here with the number of guests we have, it might be a little bit awkward to have them come up and down from microphones, so we can set them all up in the legislature in the chamber in their own seats with microphones. So just a note of that in the discussion on that. Okay, great, thank you. And any other business? Seeing no other business, like I said, November 4th, 2025, the capital plan updates on school development and maintenance initiatives will be our topic, and the witnesses will be from the Department of Public Works, Department of Education, Early Childhood Development, and representatives from all the regional centers for education. And so at this point, we are adjourned. Oh, MLA Wozni.
Sorry, Chair. To be nitpicky, all regional centers of education, that designation is reserved for what we used to be Anglophone school boards. Will we also have representation from the CSAP as a democratically elected school board? The umbrella term is education entity.
Okay.
But I just want to be clear, I'm fine if we're only going to have Anglophone former school board leadership present, but if we're also going to have representation from the CSAP, maybe we would want to document that we're going to have representation from all education entities instead, because that would also include the CSAP.
That's a good point, thank you. Just to refer to our agenda setting when we set the witnesses, when that was set, are they included in? Yes, yeah. They are. Okay. So thank you, but we'll make a note of that. The clerk will make a note of that for when we meet at our meeting. Thank you. All right. So with that, no other comments? We stand adjourned. Thank you.